Alright everybody, here it is, the last day of 2014, and I'm gonna give you my 5 favorite records of this year. If you missed the first half of my favorite albums of 2014, go check it out. It's right here, and then come back and watch the rest of this one. Number 5 on my favorite albums of 2014 is Reich Stops' The Inevitable End. It's a very rare occasion that I literally can't stop listening to a record, but that's exactly what happened with this one. Also, since it came out, I've been pushing it on pretty much everybody I know, and everybody's really enjoying it. This is just an amazing album. This one manages to run an impressively wide range within the electronic style without ever really stepping out of its own personal core. That is to say, there's a linking thread running through every song that's clear on every song, even though they do have a diverse style within electronic music. And being able to be concentrated but diverse is a rare accomplishment, especially within the world of electronic music. Because of that, you keep getting hooked and rehooked into different sounds. No specific sound or style really overstays its welcome. And at the same time, that allows this album to have a little bit of something for everyone. It touches on so many different spaces. From amazingly addictive dance club anthems to quieter, more restrained ambient works, it's all there. And because of that, it's almost understandable why the duo said that after this album, they've kind of done everything possible for them within the album format. All of the different vocalists work perfectly, and even with as long as these two have been making music together, it shows that there's tons of creativity that they still need to get out of their system. Anytime, any place, any situation, this album is a perfect choice. And if you haven't yet discovered this underrepresented gem of 2014, make sure you go get it now. Absolutely my favorite and worthy of the number 5 spot. Coming in at number 4 for me is Run the Jewels 2 album. Along with being one of the most hyped albums of 2014, it was hands down one of the best. And let's be honest, having that amount of hype and delivering on it, that is a rare feat indeed. This record topped my list for my favorite opening of any album, probably in about 5 or 10 years. This is how you get the energy started. One of the best ways any album has ever been opened. Every single track has a beat and an orchestration that's beyond top notch. LP really went beyond the Call of Duty. None of them are any less perfect than the one before, and all of them managed to hit hard as hell. Yet the reality is none of them are overdone, they don't become cliche, and that is another big thing these two managed to avoid. Along with that, let's be honest, LP and Killer Mike might be the best rap duo of their generation. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think they are. I mean, the way they play off of one another and how their distinctive flow styles link in with one another, tell me someone who tops that. Seriously. Add to that the fact that you can hear just how much fun they're having together on so many of these tracks. I mean, when you can feel that sort of energy on a record, it makes it very special. And the actual lyrics, smart, heartfelt, angry, funny, you name it, it's there. And these two once again prove they can make deadly verses about damn near anything out there. And on many levels, from beginning to end, Run the Jewels 2 is nothing short of a masterclass in how to make great hip-hop music. I rarely say it, but absolutely believe the hype on Run the Jewels 2. Go out and grab your 36-inch chain and make sure you're running the jewels every day. In the number 3 spot for my favorite albums of 2014 is Aaron Freeman's album, Freeman. This is one of the best kept secrets of 2014, and honestly, I haven't met anybody who owns this album and doesn't love it. This is the latest solo effort from the man once known as Gene Ween from Ween, but this record properly puts that all in the past and proves that Aaron has an amazing solo career ahead of him. I have to address the lyrics right off the bat, as they are brutally, heartbreakingly honest. And once you hear the first few songs, you completely understand why Ween had to end. Honestly, very few performers have ever been this unguarded on a record before. And even after countless listenings, it's never less tragically beautiful to hear. But while there's a lot of heavy on this record, there's also a lot of sparks of brightness, and Aaron Freeman being the brilliant, quirky guy that he is. And honestly, it's that balance between the two that keeps this record on repeat for me. The melodies all across it are just gorgeous, and you're gonna find yourself humming along and singing along in no time. You'll also find yourself falling in love with different songs at different times. Every one of these tracks is great and touches a different part of you. This record has more depth than almost any other album this year, and for that reason alone, you need to have it. To tell you the truth, if Aaron Freeman never released another album, while we'd all be collectively sad, he could easily hang his hat on this album as one of the greatest musical achievements ever. And as far as I see it, this record captures the idea of an athlete leaving everything on the field. With this album, Aaron has nothing more to say on the topic of Ween, and he really doesn't need to. It's all there for you. Seriously, this is what great music is all about. Diverse melodies that get stuck in your head for days, if not weeks, complemented by feelings ranging from angry to frustrated to silly to hopeful, all across the board. Go and get Freeman now. Really, you're gonna love it. Now for the big ones, my top 2 favorite albums of 2014. To tell you the truth, I couldn't decide between the two which one I loved more, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a tie. My favorite 2 albums for 2014 absolutely are both deserving of the number 1 spot. My first winner of Album of the Year 2014 goes to the Peace Arch EP from Emily Dane Danger. There probably isn't another record that I've talked about more or given to more people in 2014 than this one. And that's because as far as I'm concerned, Emily Danger represents the greatest unsigned band on the planet today, hands down. Her stunning, spectacular live show aside, each of these songs instantly takes you away and completely captures you in an amazing musical universe. And it's the fact that, to be honest, nobody else is making music quite like this that makes me love it so much. And if you're someone who likes unique music that's amazing in every aspect, you're gonna keep coming back to this one for more. The instrumentation swallows you whole, creating an intense sonic journey on every song. And it's the way that they balance smoky, dark tones with the uplifting, swirling sounds that makes this record impossible to categorize, and it's also what makes it so special and shows you what true musical individuality and creativity is all about. But as good as the music is, and it's great, let me tell you that nothing can top Emily's voice. There's this unexpectedly fierce power in every single note. And beyond that, the girl can just sing. This is what raw, unhindered talent is all about. And even after playing the title track more times than I could possibly count, when she just lets it rip, it still stuns me every single time. But it's the fact that she's just as show-stopping when she's quieter and more restrained that makes walls fall on this record. And the band is able to move as one of the most impressive musical forces that I've heard in years. This record is just gonna pull you in and do what it wants with you, and when it's done with you, you're just gonna wanna have it happen again. That repeat button might break with this EP. Honestly, the amount of talent and outright phenomenal music that they pack into this 4-track EP is well beyond that of almost any album that I've heard in recent history. This is bar none one of the greatest musical works of all of 2014, and I for one can't wait to see what they do in 2015. Get this EP and get it now. Joining the Peace Arch EP as one of my 2 top picks for 2015 is the Forest of Lost Children record by Kikagaku Moyo. Every once in a great while, we're talking maybe once a decade at best, an album comes into my life that the instant I hear it, I know I'm gonna be listening to it for as long as I live. This was that record in 2014. There are a number of reasons why this record will forever hold a special place in my heart, but a majority of it is because the music is just so superb. This record is about as much of a musical journey as you're ever going to find, and it gently brings you in with an opening track that's wonderfully hypnotic but just eases you into things. It kind of welcomes you into their musical world in a way that very few albums pull off, and you almost get the sense that the opening track is setting the scene for some musical journey to come. And it is. While it's what this album does as a whole that makes it one of my top picks for 2014, it's the centerpiece of the album, the track Smoke and Mirrors, that makes it truly extraordinary. This is without question one of the greatest 7 minutes ever captured on tape. Ever. The first 2 tracks play a perfect setup, and it's Smoke and Mirrors where the band pulls back the curtain and shows you what they're all about. And what they're all about is rocking you so hard that your face melts off, and once it melts off, all you want to do is glue it back on so they can melt it off again. It's just that the second time they melt your face off, you're gonna turn the album up louder, cause it's better that way. The track gives nods to everything from Black Sabbath to Chet Atkins to Flower Traveling Band to a number of other groups. And I can't say enough how blisteringly, mind-blowingly amazing this performance is. Seriously, I'm not sure if there's a loud enough volume to do this track justice, in a good way. Just listen to it. But the greatness doesn't end there, because the second half of the record is equally impressive, and it's the sort of album that you're gonna just want to repeat and repeat and repeat. It's all you're gonna want to hear. Or honestly, you might just take a little break from listening to music for a while. There's really no album that can follow this one up. It just sort of puts a period at the end, and there's no record that does justice after it. So whether it's because what this album is as a whole, maybe it's just because of the track Smoke and Mirrors, maybe it's because when it's done, it's just such an end point for listening to music for a while. This album is absolutely worthy of one of the 2 top spots of 2014. So if all you can do is buy 2 albums for 2014, they have to be Emily Danger's Peace Arch EP and Kikagaku Moyo's Forest of Lost Children. That's not to say that the other 8 albums I talked about today and on Monday weren't great. Those are phenomenal records that you have to have in your collection. But for me, it's sort of that top 8, a huge gap, and then these 2 records. They were absolutely my favorites. What an amazing year we had in 2014. So many great records came out in every single genre. Anyone who thinks that music is getting worse or somehow getting boring, just don't let them into your life. Music is as good as ever, and I can't wait to see you guys again next year.